Manik bari familia, uдар дасла и калилегија, а ке вряма уште Рома кана, мен кота сам ишто кај ке раса. Ај Ромале, ај чавале,
Dear Prime Minister, dear Excellencies, dear Vice Prime Minister, ministers, mayors, dear guests. These days are the days where we join forces to celebrate togetherness, differences, equality, culture, and achievements. It makes us proud and courageous because that's how we develop our spirit and our own values. In 1971, in London, during the Cold War, we established the foundations of our ideals and the modern Roma movement. In Europe and worldwide, on the World Roma Day, Roma people celebrate the achievements of our activists, Dr. Ismael Cortes, who is a member of the Spanish Parliament, who achieved in the Spanish Parliament with his legal initiative from 1 to 4 years to establish hatred and discrimination against Roma people as an act of crime. We celebrate all Roma activists who help Roma refugees from Ukraine, in the Poland, Ukraine, Czech Republic, and other countries. On this day, we celebrate Viktor Uchuk, Ukrainian Roma soldier who was awarded the Medal of Courage by the President Zelensky. Today, Roma from the Republic of North Macedonia also celebrate our inclusive and integrative society together with the achievements of our country, because European perspectives and high quality of Roma community are our guiding star. Dear guests, the topic of today's discussion in the government of the Republic of North Macedonia are European perspectives and high quality development of the Roma community in our republic. Dear President of the government of the Republic of North Macedonia, Mr. Dimitar Kovačevski, could you please address the public? Thank you, dear guests, dear ambassadors, dear ministers in the government, members of parliament. I am glad at this occasion on the International Roma Day to gather different stakeholders of our society, but we all share the same values, such as the values of equality, respect of national minorities, and joining efforts in exercising the rights not only for which are important not only for Roma people but for all minorities in the Republic of North Macedonia. It is good to remind us on the day of the first Roma Congress, which was held in London in 1971, important decisions were made about the Roma minority in Europe and important aspects of its in identity, culture, and language. Improving the position of the Roma community in our country is in the focus of this government. It is my personal commitment as a human being and as a Prime Minister to build an equal and cohesive, inclusive society where the citizens and societies feel safe and have equal opportunities for personal and professional development. That is why I strive in partnership and honest cooperation with all stakeholders state institutions, civic organizations to improve the situation of the Roma community in our country. Due to the Berlin process in July of 2012 at the summit in Poznan, our country, together with the countries from the region, undertook the obligation to improve the position of Roma people and to achieve specific results in the areas of education, healthcare, housing, civil documentation, and fight against discrimination on our way to accession with the EU. Our country established the National Roma Strategy 2022-2023 in line with the European Strategic Framework, which is part of the public policies of the government of the country and the basis for taking specific actions in all the areas I mentioned. The European Commission, when it comes to the Roma inclusion strategy, pointed to the strong commitment of our country and the countries of the Western Balkan in including the Roma people and implementing the obligations from Poznan. I'm very happy that our citizens, Roma citizens, lead the issue of their own integration. They are an example for others in the region. The government of the Republic of North Macedonia, to support the implementation of the Roma strategy in 2023, allocated funds for specific projects. The commitment of the government that I am leading is to improve this trend by creating opportunities for consistent implementation of the strategy for inclusion of Roma people in the action plan. To better integrate Roma people in our country, the key issue is keeping the young people within the education system. This is my personal commitment. If we succeed in that, we are going to resolve numerous issues faced by the Roma community. We have to keep the position in the region. We are a positive role model when it comes to Roma students active in the country and in the world. The Republic of North Macedonia, as a future EU member, is obliged to prepare a legal solution in line with the standards of the European Union and its harmonization with international norms and standards. Therefore, as a government, we strive to increase the number of Roma people involved on the labor market. We achieve this through the operational program for active presence from the Ministry of Labor and Social Policy to encourage the entrepreneurship in the Roma community. A great effect was from the measures of the government to help the entrepreneurs, and we helped entities led by Roma people to keep these measures for legalization and improving their business. This year, the investment fund already began to operate, and the government signed a special memorandum for matching and cooperation with the civic sector for development of entrepreneurship in the Roma community. To this end, we are cooperating with the program Roma from the European Union, which helps the implementation of Roma people on local level in 15 municipalities. With the help of the USAID and the US government, the local communities and the Roma civic sector and cooperation with the European Union, we are implementing numerous projects. I would like to point out the housing, where the Roma community is a special target. The projects for the housing, legalization, social housing, investment in social infrastructure are big investments in the long term, but that does not mean they will not be implemented. We have a lot to do, but the growth and development of each strategy, inclusion, respecting of diversity, know no boundaries, and we should strive to invest ourselves even further to be even better. Dear citizens, Roma, be proud of the potentials you have. I, as the Prime Minister, and my government will continue with the positive practices to increase the investments in the education, employment, and housing. We are going to strive for a positive development of the Roma community and the entire society. In the past period, I have proven that I have always appreciated professionalism. We have Roma people in important functions, state secretary, advisors in my cabinet. One of our best and most perspective diplomats we have in Brussels is an employee from the Ministry of Interior, and she is Roma by nationality. The Member of Parliament, Aliata Fetishovska, and her colleague, together with me, we do everything we can every day to improve any segment we can in the lives in the Roma community. Last week, we did something that hadn't been done in 13 years in a place in Skopje where there was no power supply. From this Monday, there is a power connection, which is an elementary issue, that's something that every family needs to have. So I thank the member of the parliament and the power supply company and the Ministry of Labor and Social Policy and the Ministry of Economy. This way, we demonstrate that together we can go forward. A person alone can go somewhere quickly, but only together with friends, together with people who he shares great values, he can go far. This will be the end of my address, and I congratulate you. April the 8th, International Roma Day. May you all be in health.
Благодарам.
Thank you. Now I'd like to invite the Minister for Labor and Social Policy, Jovana Trenčevska. Thank you, dear Prime Minister of the Republic of North Macedonia, Dimitar Kovačevski, dear Ambassador of the EU in the Republic of North Macedonia, David Gir, dear ambassadors, dear mayors, dear members of parliament, dear representatives of Romacted, of the Council of Europe, dear representatives of the institutions, dear representatives of the Ombudsman, dear attendees. Our commitment is to build one society for all, building a system in which all citizens on an equal basis will have the equal rights, will have equal access to resources and equal opportunities for improvement, for progress. The respect of the human rights of equality and non-discrimination is a commitment on which we are working with dedication. We make strong efforts, we are working intensively, and with all our resources we are aimed towards the European Union. We are aware that there has to be changes in order to fulfill the European standards and to respond to their initiatives for improving the overall social life. As a country, we are also making efforts to accelerate the integration of the Roma in all social spheres. As a result of the Berlin process, we signed the Declaration for Integration of the Roma, and with this we obliged ourselves to improve their situation when it comes to education, employment, health, housing, the civil documentation, and the fight against discrimination. The steps towards new successes, we are expressing them by drafting new documents under the guidelines given in the strategic frameworks of the EU. That is why, as a country, we started drafting a new strategy for the inclusion of the Roma 2022-2030, which is part of the public policies of our country to equalize the level of involvement and integration of the Roma community with all ethnic communities. In accordance with the signed declaration and the obligation arising therefrom, as a ministry within our competences, we implemented the project Inclusion of the Roma children in the preschool education, whose goal is to remove the existing barriers for access to preschool institutions of Roma children at the age of 3 to 6 years old, inclusion of children and their socialization, as well as strengthening the awareness of their parents about the importance of the early child development and the education of their children. This is an especially important project. At every event I am talking about the importance of the preschool education and upbringing, and how important it is for everyone to have the opportunity to fulfill their whole potential. We cannot have success if someone is left behind in this process. That is why we involve 400 children, Roma children, at the annual level, free of charge in the public children institutions through a joint project of the Ministry of Labor and Social Policy, the Roma Educational Fund, and 20 self-government units. We are systematically resolving the issue regarding the parents not paying participation for the education of their children through block grants. In the course of the years of implementation of the project, we have involved free of charge about 5,000 children in 20 municipalities. When we implement a project, we need to also have in mind the long-term benefits. These children who went through the preschool education process increased the rate of enrolled children in first grade, and this is a very satisfying fact. This improves the development of the Roma children and their involvement in the educational system. This project contributed in the Republic of North Macedonia to have the largest number of Roma children involved at all levels of education, from preschool education to higher education compared to the Western Balkan countries. It is of special importance to involve the Roma in the labor market, with the rate of employment of the Roma in the public sector compared to the employment of the Roma in terms of the total population in the Republic of North Macedonia. We have the highest level of employed Roma people in the public and state administration compared to the countries in the region. A total of 150 Roma are employed in the institutions of the system. Creating the active employment measures which target the Roma helps involve them in the labor market. Young people, young unemployed Roma at the age of 15 to 29 are also covered by the Plan for Youth Guarantee 2020-2022. In the youth guarantee in 2022 involved a total of 1,075 Roma. 245 were employed for 4 months after their involvement in the youth guarantee through employment mediation, and 36 people were involved in some of the employment measures or trainings which improve their employability. In order to increase the level of unemployed Roma people in the active employment measures and programs from the operational plan, we increased the coverage of Roma people in the active employment measures with the introduction of a quota of 5% of Roma coverage. We are also resolving challenges such as undeclared work. We also created the National Program for Transformation of Undeclared Work. The program was developed within the project Integration of the Roma 2020. The goal of this program is to reduce the rate of undeclared work among the Roma to 25% by 2025. We also prepared the national action plans for the priority areas from the strategy for the Roma, which are currently in government procedure, and by the end of the month will be adopted and will be the obligation of the relevant ministries to implement them. We also prepared a special action plan for the Roma women, which demonstrates the commitment of the government to work on the greater involvement of Roma women and their integration in society, which is a challenge that was noted in 2011. This is a challenge that limits these people, and they cannot enjoy their basic human rights. The drafting of the law of people not registered is a solution, a decision of the government of the Republic of North Macedonia to help this category of people. In the course of 2020, we drafted a special law for this category of people, and this law enables the people that are not registered to be in the birth register, to be registered specifically, and to be allocated an identification document in order for them to be able to enjoy their rights. According to their rights, about 320 people have received a birth certificate, and 115 people have received an ID in the period from 2020 to 2022, and for 100 people the procedures are ongoing. Faced with the challenges of the implementation of this law, we are in the stage of amending it together with the members of parliament in order to resolve certain problems and to be able by the end of 2023 to resolve this issue with unregistered persons. Dear, at the end I would like to thank you for the opportunity to be able to be part of this event and to congratulate all Roma people, the 8th of April, the International Roma Day. Thank you. Now I would like to invite the ambassador of the EU delegation in Skopje, Mr. David Kir.
Kovacevski, dear Deputy Prime Minister Maricic, dear ministers, parliamentarians, Mr. Mehmeti, Madame Mustafova, and most of all, dear representatives of the Roma community. It's my great pleasure to be able to say Batalo o Internacionalno Dive e Romengoro at a third event this week, even if we celebrate tomorrow, the 8th of April itself. The status of Roma, widely dispersed in the EU and in Europe in general, has been marked by hardship for centuries, from discrimination and marginalization to persecution, including forced assimilation, slavery, and genocide during the Holocaust. 52 years ago, the first Romani World Congress drew attention to these issues and called for a change, for full respect for fundamental rights and the principle of equality, for acknowledgement of Roma people's contribution to the societies in which they live. 52 years later, we all continue to press for positive change for Roma all over Europe, inside the European Union and beyond, including North Macedonia, a negotiating state with the European Union. There has certainly been progress on the inclusion of Roma throughout Europe and in North Macedonia. However, significant challenges remain. In this country and many others, we still see Roma people begging on the street, Roma children out of school, and Roma living in inhumane conditions in illegal settlements. There are still Roma without IDs, collecting garbage, Roma children facing early marriages. These are only some of the problems noted in the latest European Commission's country report. Though again, these problems are far from unique to North Macedonia, and as the Prime Minister has noted, the report also commended the commitment to address these issues. All countries that aspire to join the EU are required to embrace fully the fundamental principle of equality and equal opportunities for all citizens, and for Roma in particular. In North Macedonia, the EU has been actively supporting the development and inclusion of the Roma community by funding numerous projects ranging from the provision of better house education and employment opportunities, including, as the Minister has just said, through the youth guarantees, to housing and better access to healthcare. Furthermore, the EU worked closely with the government on the development and implementation of the National Roma Inclusion Strategy 2022 to 2030, which many of us discussed at a conference yesterday. This strategy, which has been widely praised, aims to address the practical obstacles faced by the Roma community in achieving full equality and inclusion. Of course, the real test of success will, as ever, depend on effective implementation. We are pleased with the results of the support we have provided to the Roma community in the past years, and will continue our support in the future. For the national authorities in implementing the national strategy, the Roma community itself, and other partners, because Roma inclusion is not only about Roma empowerment and inclusion, though this is an important goal in itself. It is also a challenge for all of us about the kind of societies in which we want to live, about our common future together, and about our commitment to the principles captured in the mottos, united in diversity and an equal society for all. Thank you. Oven Saste.
Благодарам. Я повиквам.
Thank you. And I invite Ms. Julta Mustafova from the European Council of Europe. Hello, Alice. Hello, everyone. I would just like to say something about Romacted, which is a joint program of the EU and Council of Europe. And the implementation of the goals are being monitored by the Council of Europe to improve the rights of the Roma community, because that's the goal of the Council of Europe, to improve human rights. That's why we have a series of standards that are applied to the improvement of the rights of Roma. That's the objective of the Romacted program. It is a response to a need that has already been established to have a more systematic approach in stimulating the process of changes in the community, and including primarily the local stakeholders in a constructive dialogue. The program builds based on political will and engagement of local communities to strengthen local governments or local neutrality, to empower the Roma community and to help in the implementation of the implementation and monitoring of projects in line with the needs of the community. One of the most important tools is the participative work cycle and active participation of the Roma community. So a series of instrument standards have been adopted by the Council of Europe to promote and improve rights of Roma people. All of them, or most of them, apply several issues, improving the social status of Roma people, providing rights to people without citizenship, high quality inclusive education for Roma children, improving the economic status and employment rate, improving the housing situation, better access to healthcare, fight against the discrimination and racism, and inclusion of Roma history in the school curricula, which is one of the latest standards that has been adopted. The European Court of Human Rights and other monitoring bodies of the Council of Europe are closely monitoring the status of Roma people and are handling the issues of discrimination and violation of human rights. And one of the verdicts is one of the verdicts when it comes to segregation of schools in Bitola and Štip. And the country in the upcoming period will take action to desegregate the Roma children from elementary education. The strategic action plan to include Roma of the Council of Europe, which was adopted for the period 2020-2025, includes three main objectives, which is fight against Roma discrimination, effective equality, which is very important, support to democratic development and promotion of public trust and accountability, and helping and achieving inclusive and high-quality education for Roma children. This strategic action plan is based on several principles which should always be considered when creating policies for Roma people, whether on national or local level. And it is an approach that should always be based on human rights and non-discrimination, rule of law, accepting all differences, simply an intersectoral approach, and including Roma as proper members of society, and including Roma people in all decisions that affect them. Roma people should be in the focus of the process that directly affect them, and Roma Act puts the focus on this issue. And together with the local government creates policies and activities in line with the needs of the community. In the other part of today's agenda you will hear from my colleague Mercica what does the program finance on local level, what are the actual needs of the citizens that require additional support both from international organizations and institutions of our country. Finally, I want to point out that in addition to April 8 as International Roma Day, we have two dates that are important in Roma history, which is August 2nd, Holocaust, Roma Victim Holocaust Remembrance Day, and another holiday. I want to congratulate you the holiday.
Благодарам, Джултен.
Thank you, Julten. Now to announce a presentation of a short film, Huriasa. I will give you an introduction about the film. It was written and produced by the British Roma journalist Jake Bowers and inspired by the anthem for human rights of Maya Angelou, the American poet. The epic poem views the problematic roots of Roma people who originate from India before calling them to identify with all the Roma role models displayed in the video. They show them excellent in some professions as lawyers, doctors, journalists, government officials, but it also includes the long-term contribution of Roma with actors, musicians, and artists. The Roma homes are shown in the video, as well as the children who live in different neighborhoods throughout the Balkans. It is said in Roma language from Shute Ruzuri by the activists from Skopje and Tirana. It was first shown in the Rosciuta Orizori and in one at the film festival in the tough competition on the Western Balkans. The video encourages Roma people to stand up for themselves and to have their voices heard. The film is finest initiated by the European Roma Institute of Arts and Culture, as proud of the campaign Free Roma People, Free Europe.
Penelope Sosamas Chiriclea, Ripov Bichalde, Dejivdina, Neve Jivdipa Pare, Taisoyek Dive, Hasardiama Mare Paka, Teovas Ketana Panle.
Janav Soaviliam andar ekhamesko putaripe, yek milja bershan glal. Sem tetaro muzicharoja, sastarne tajbugurgjie, numa sarte si, avdive, von, urian.
Varekan amaro biathinali pe holarelolен, soskialo sardiam tebeshas korkore, numa, vainalini te mukao dova, soamen maikuch soaraka pipov sikere,
Ano naklut no vaht, olazumavje, te pagaren amaroilo. Numa sakajo generacija vazdinja, pespal pale, te sikaveno amaro chachipe, angluno.
Pakiasli so amare vazdime muja daravenlen, vai oritmo andar amare vasta, vai odova bi pagerdo, vai ladavkerdo, gatare puva, sokulatiamamen pesavore tana,
Ande mahale, mukliam darhia, tai sumnakasa, iphuv pertiam. Tai kana zumavde, te den amendab, samamare rote, amen tavalindiam.
Pakiasli so amari rosh gerelte cidempes, soskesian diuchalin tode, mishto menakamav te tiknaraf miri rosh, te dikaf andar sosivon kerde.
Avdives amare genia, bairoven anisako yaphuv. Tai uzal so amare marimata cidenamentele. Avili vriama, teovas, zorale.
Soske diklem o avutnipe, sosi parla dimo, parlainel roshaneste, shirdinel katar ivramin, kanaka kedasamen pale, te hurias barest.
Numa kothan anglete jas, valiani, opre te aresas. Andosakova paharinalo duru kuzal, othan eiveskero te urias.
Amenka avas koshant taipakivasa, na marimasa vai zorasa. Te achaves amen isi shaimata, sarkana chinaves idetarinasa.
Andi muzika, artat hai sporto kakeras, sataro amaro ogi. Ande oficia, fabrike tai ante kerat, jiko devel si amarin resarin kigodi.
Amenka ova doctoria, jantre, tai ezorale manusha e avutnimaske, jurnalisturia, profesoria, jivutrenge sastiarne, tai vi autoria prinjarimaski.
Te zumaves, te ikeres, amen garavdes sisal, kanamanges te cides obaro paipale. Tai sakova, barthodo anda amarodrom, isitel makas ole barikaneste. Ochachipesi sodinyam butender taro odova soliliam. Amen vazdas amen, teovas ginavde, taite das so amendar sodinyam.
Janas so isiamen ogin te mangas te aresas i havaya, amen ikrovasa taro garavipa, akana te sikavasamen barikaneste taite huria. Te kuvas prekal akava valuno plafono, Кавалянија менге буџене канакаджас. Саво со кавазделамен, пакиваса тај шукаримаса. Крланес, тај бариканес, деовас.
Каширдинел манца, леса, тайласа, пениндор кон тай сосам, анде лафия, кодрома кибути, тай сакоте со амен, пешлям.
Соске кана годисарас, палио дола со зоралесте авиле англедер, осебепи сола хуриандиле будур тай бувлес, састе мукена менге бутедер.
Олана клеп хувя, пања тај пахарипе, тероден шанд тај невипе.
Аменге, башиленге, тај андародоленде сока авен, вриама си пале, те хуриен.
Andar jehk palut nipe, ta savdo ande asva. Amen, kauria.
Чудаса е бершенге дука, амен ка хурија.
Perasa edende lafia, amare palut nipaske. Amen, kaurias.
Корик иазија амаре дживи маске, амен ка хуријас.
Uriasa, uriasa, uriasa.
Премиере,
Prime Minister, I would like to thank you for your attendance, and once again, on behalf of the government of the Republic of North Macedonia, I would like to congratulate us the International Roma Day and to announce that we are continuing with the following panel. Thank you, first of all, for giving me the honor to open this event with my welcoming address, this significant event. I would like to congratulate you once more, the International Roma Day. This meeting and event does not stop here. It will continue together with the Deputy Prime Minister for European Affairs, Bojan Maricic, and I would like to wish you a fruitful and successful discussion, and we will continue to do our work together with the ministers in the government and the members of parliament. Thank you and congratulations one more time.
Mabera za
Now I would like to ask Mabera to continue. Thank you, Mr. Mehmeti. We are continuing further with the marking of the International Roma Day, the 8th of April, with the extension of the European Union. The Roma now are the largest growing minorities in Europe. The total number of Roma population in the overall Europe is estimated to be between 10 and 14 million. They represent about 2% of the 450 million people living in the European Union. Approximately 6 million Roma people live in the countries of Central and Eastern Europe, and approximately 5 million in the new member countries of the EU. The challenge regarding the economic and social development of the Roma people is one of the most essential issues on the agenda of the countries from Central and Eastern Europe, an issue that is a joint one for all the other member countries of the Council of Europe. The Roma issue is an essential issue when it comes to poverty. The poverty among Roma is multifacial. It comes from the low level of education, the inadequate housing, the bad health condition, and leads to a cycle of poverty and exclusion. Due to these reasons, the Roma people in deep poverty, even in the countries in Central and Eastern Europe, with a poverty rate among the Roma which sometimes is even 10 times greater compared to the rate of the non-Roma people. A lot of Roma people have limited opportunities to exit this poverty due to the low level of human development and the long-term discrimination, including the lack of education, bad health insurance, limited opportunities for participation in the social and political life. The Roma population is significantly younger than the majority population in the countries where they live. Currently, between 25 and 30% of the Roma people are at the age under 15 years of age, compared to the 10% of the majority population. They have they can contribute a lot to Europe, and they cannot be left behind. Due to their demographic profile, the Roma represent the future of many countries of Central and Eastern Europe. The countries cannot allow themselves to lose their potential, to lose their contribution as professionalists, experts, scientists, researchers, and artists, nor they can forget about their rich culture and history. The Secretariat for European Affairs is the coordinator of all activities among all relevant institutions in terms of the process of integration of the Republic of North Macedonia in the EU. That is why I would like to invite Mr. Bojan Maricic, Deputy Prime Minister in charge of European Affairs, to take the floor, please. Thank you, Mabera. Thank you, dear friends. Esteemed Ambassador Gir, esteemed colleague Trenčevska, esteemed Deputy Prime Minister, esteemed members of Parliament, esteemed State Secretary, and all attendees, dear representatives of the Romacted program, I accepted this invitation with great satisfaction. With Elvis and all the others, we have known each other for a long time now, and we know each other very well, and I'm very glad every year when this day comes, the International Roma Day. Because I am one of the people who honestly loves the Roma community and honestly has worked more than 15 years, even since I was a student, on the integration and improvement of the status of the Roma community in the country and all over the world. It is good that we heard from the Prime Minister about the government policy and from the Minister about the economic and social integration of the Roma, but also the challenges they are facing. The largest European ethnic community has a significant contribution to the building of the cultural heritage and the diversity of the Republic of North Macedonia, but the overall Europe. The Roma are indispensable and extremely important part of the Macedonian society, which our country, North Macedonia, is their country, just like it is for the Macedonian people and all the other communities that live and work here. When it comes to the development of a democratic society as a country that is negotiating with the EU, we need to make all citizens, all ethnic communities, to feel equal, having equal opportunities, equal rights, without discrimination. The policies for the inclusion of the Roma are among the top priorities of the government, and this commitment of ours is appropriately reflected in the strategy that we adopted last year as an important strategic document that needs to contribute to reducing the gap when it comes to the Roma in society. This is not only European, but it is Macedonian, and it should be adopted by a country that is negotiating to become a member of the EU. As you all know, this topic will be an important part of the negotiation, especially when it comes to Chapter 23, where the rights of the ethnic communities are treated, but also the issue of discrimination is treated in that chapter. And we also have a lot of work to do in this area. Of course, we need to have in mind that within the instruments that we are building related to the screening and the negotiations and the action plan for minorities, this is how it is called, and it will deal with all ethnic minorities, social minorities, and so on. So I believe that we have good instruments, a good opportunity what has not been done during this year, which has not been finished during this year, to be finished now during this European integration process, and to implement the agenda for improving the status of the Roma. And this should be a European agenda, a part of the EU agenda, which at the end of this process will eliminate all social differences and social mechanisms that today are still maintaining the level of discrimination in certain areas. I believe that we have made a significant progress. However, we also have a lot of work to do in the future. We have a lot of things to brag about. However, we can do so much more, and we know that. That is why these days and these events should always be used to achieve that goal. I also want to emphasize that when defining the policies for Roma inclusion, we follow the guidelines from the relevant documents of the EU, the strategic framework for equality of the EU and the framework of the EU for the national strategies for integration of the Roma, whose goal is to provide what we are talking about today: faster progress in the promotion of effective equality and socio-economic involvement of the Roma. And better and more positive results in this area when it comes to the social and economic inclusion are possible only if the Roma, through their representatives, through their social stakeholders, political parties, members of parliament, are directly involved in this process at all levels, from the local self-government, the civil sector, the politics, the political parties, and so on. In the next 7 or 8 years, it will be necessary to have great dedication and synergy when it comes to the fulfillment of these tasks in all institutions. And I believe that here we need to have in mind the funds of the EU, because they give a good opportunity for financing projects in the field of inclusion of the Roma population, which should give real and visible results. In the upcoming period, it will be important to use the funds with the involvement of all potential stakeholders, associations, NGOs, state institutions. But it will be also important to achieve concrete results. The number of current and future projects financed through the IPA funds is large. We have also supported projects that have direct impact on the social inclusion of the Roma, improvement of the conditions of the Roma families, better health insurance, gender equality, and so on. The integration of the Roma will be in the focus of the new programs, which in the Secretariat for European Affairs are prepared for the next IPA framework, and we will also conduct trainings for the administration in the municipalities where there are representatives of the Roma community, and we'll put special attention on this. We are also fully aware that we have a lot of work to do still, and that this fight will continue and cannot stop, and there will always be something additional to do, because we want to be a country that is proud of its multi-ethnic character and to improve the integration of the Roma community in all social spheres. If we want to have a society of equal opportunities, we need to preserve the cultural and ethnic diversity of our country. The concept of one society for all is a living concept which is nurtured by acts and joint action, and not only with words and documents. Only working together can we make a positive difference and unlock the large potential of the Roma to their benefit and to the benefit of society as a whole. That is why with partnership and cooperation we will continue to improve the situation of the Roma. I would like to congratulate you on the International Roma Day, 8th of April. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maricic. Now, Mr. Bekim Jarepi, Deputy Minister for Transport and Communications. Dear Prime Minister, distinguished Ambassador of the EU, Mr. David Gear, dear Minister of Labor and Social Policy, dear representatives of Council of Europe and other international organizations, members of Parliament, mayors, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to congratulate this International Roma Day It's been 30 days since it was 8 April was declared International Roma Day, and 22 years since Roma people were included in the constitution of our country. The Republic of North Macedonia can be proud with its positive intentions to integrate the Roma people. It proves by including the Roma people in the constitution with different programs and financial support. When it comes to inclusion of Roma people in all areas of social life is one of the priorities of the Ministry of Transport, Communications and of the government. This strategic plan adopted in the Ministry of Transport and Communications covers the period from 2022 to 2025 and involves several programs and actions within the competence of the Ministry of Transport and Communications. I would like to tell more about the domain of utility infrastructure, because the Ministry adopted a program to support the implementation of the strategy for development of the Roma people in 2023. The Ministry of Transport and Communications has allocated a budget that will be distributed in the local self-government units in 2021. Through a public call, we invited all units of local self-government to file a request to use funds from the Ministry of Transport and Communications. These funds were given as supplements in the municipalities Kriva Palanka for reconstruction of the access roads in the settlement Jedinstven in Kriva Palanka, access from the hunting house to Radovsko Malo, and access from the street Pirinska to Kavadarci. In Kavadarci, building a support wall, street lighting in Kočani, a water treatment station in Debarca, and a water pressure pump in Kočani, in Delčevo, construction of a street in the village of Rankovce, in Delčevo, reconstruction of a part of the distribution network in Delčevo, Šuto Rizori, reconstruction and improvement of the street Hadži Jona Šiškov in the municipality of Šuto Rizori. In 2022, in Šuto Rizori, we reconstructed and improved the part of the street Jovan Šiškov, stage 2. In Kavadarci, building a water supply network and a sewage and drainage network. In Komadovo, construction of a road in Stregrok. In Berovo, building a fecal sewage network. In Kratovo, building power water supply in the village of Konjuh. In Pechčevo, building a dry chamber for a reservoir in the municipality of Pechčevo. In Selevo, building a street in the village Staro Valvovci, municipality Valdilovo. In Štip, building street number 1 in the settlement Sveta Nedela. In Delčevo, construction of the street Vančo Pakje. Rankovce, building of a sewage network, building a football field in the Roma neighborhood in municipality Rankovce. In the settlement Pepelište, a street was built in the municipality of Negotino. Within this program, in 2023, the committee is working where all applicants, all municipality applicants, are submitting the request. So I hopefully will be able to post the request that will have been accepted by the municipalities. Now I want to mention something about that affects, that contributes to better life in the Roma community, which is the law on illegally constructed buildings, which is The draft version is in the Parliament. We are waiting for a public discussion. I hope that this law will be soon adopted. It was proposed by our ministry. Thank you for inviting me. I was very happy to be present at this special day for the Roma community. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Redzepi. On behalf of all of us, I would like to thank Mr. Marčić for his presence. He will now have to leave due to other engagements, but we go on. The program Romacted is one of the organizers of today's event, one of the partners of the Ministry of Labor and Social Policy. We have been cooperating closely with them in the past period, and I invite Ms. Mersiha Hussein to address the audience. Thank you, Mabera. We had the chance to hear what is being done on national level and what programs are being implemented to improve the status of Roma people on national level, but I would like to mention that EU perspective without a democratic participation of Roma people on national and local level is not realistic. To see the real picture, actions on local level is the key for efficient implementation of the Roma inclusion programs. This is the level where the exclusion and discrimination are most visible. We need practical steps to involve the community in all processes. The main challenge for efficient implementation of Roma inclusion policies of Europe on national level is the difference in the understanding of the capacities and the commitment on local level. To successfully implement Roma inclusion policy into the local agendas and budget, most important is for the local administration institutions to continuously and have long-term strengthening of their engagement and inclusion of Roma in the long run. And application of good governance and local democracy also depend on the inclusion of the Roma community, to make them equal partners and participants, not just passive recipients and objects of patronizing contributions that only confirm their exclusion. A Romacted program, and we are partners with them, and we have determined there is a need for a systematic approach when stimulating process of change in the local community, involving everyone in stakeholders in the dialogue, development of local resources, and implementing the principles of Romacted directly contribute to improving the discussion and dialogue, and provide opportunities for participation of citizens through informative meetings, for making amendments to local strategic documents, coordination and synergy between all stakeholders on local and central level that affect the quality of living of Roma people on local level. I want to pay special attention to the process of coordination and synergy between all stakeholders. Experience shows that we need to coordinate efforts when providing technical support on local level for building political will and to have continuous political engagement, also strengthening the democratic participation and empowering the local Roma communities, as well as implementing projects and providing access to local and international funds. To produce specific results in the local community, we need timely and good coordination. Romalitico, together with the Skopje office of Council of Europe, we try to maximize the utilization of resources and funds. For example, within the Horizontal 2 facility program, we implemented several trainings for the local action group, for free legal aid, for labor inspectors, for anti-gypsy discrimination as a new form of discrimination. And this way we strengthen the capacities of these target groups of 61 labor inspector and about 120 members of the action group in the local community. Another action that helped to formalize the needs and priorities of the local community in the local strategic documents is the project with USAID for Roma inclusion. Within this synergy project, we prepared 19 local action plans, where 11 have already been adopted and 4 are within the administrative adoption procedure. When it comes to the implementation of these documents, I want to point out that we definitely need support from everyone. We cannot leave the municipality to implement all these activities because they don't lack the capacities and financial resources, just like all the other municipalities. If we want to be useful, it would be good through coordinated process to get involved in the implementation of the priorities that were determined by the community, and that is why we prepared this information flyer that specifies the activities that are common for all action plans in 4 areas: education, healthcare, housing, and employment. In the interest of time, I am not going to read all of them. Just as information, you should have them, you should view them and consider them when planning the programs and budgets in your ministries and within general project activities from an international organization and this planned by the civic organization in the plan for 2024. As Roma-acted program, we support the municipalities in several activities that are already part of local action plans, such as additional education for Roma children, renovation of playgrounds, reconstruction of streets, classrooms, providing tutor support for the poorest pupils and students due to the COVID-19 pandemic and online education, using active measures for employment for Roma people, and implementation of action plan for risk management and disaster management. I would like to thank all the mayors for their selfless support in adoption of the local action plan and in the implementation of the activities of the program in general, and that produced specific results. And finally, I want to say that the change is not going to come if we wait for someone else or we wait for another different time. We are the ones who need to make the change. It is our time.
Thank you, Merciha. On behalf of all of us, I would like to thank the Minister Jovanka Trenčevska for her attendance, and she has to leave due to other obligations. And also I would like to thank the Deputy Minister, Mr. Rejepi, who also needs to leave due to other obligations. Thank you for attendance. We continue now. When I was listening to the speech of Mr. Maricic, it was mentioned that in the upcoming period, many line ministries, but also the local self-government units will be involved in the projection of the IPA funds, because they are the only tool, the only opportunity to use funds from the European Commission, because unfortunately we are still not a member of the EU and we cannot use the structural and other European funds except the tool IPA. Because here, to our great satisfaction, we have several mayors present. I would like to greet them on behalf of the organizers of today's event. I would like to give the floor to the mayors about their views and opinions regarding the use of the IPA funds, if we take into consideration what was mentioned by the Deputy Prime Minister for European Affairs, that there will be a training of members of the municipal councils where there are Roma representatives. And now I would like to hear their opinion of these mayors who are already using some funds from IPA and are implementing projects at the local level. Please, who would like to get involved in the discussion, you can take the floor. I will start. Goran Trajkovski, Mayor of the Municipality of Delchevo. At the beginning, I would like to congratulate you on the holiday tomorrow. On tomorrow, we are attending these events as mayors for many years now, and by giving our contribution as mayors at the local level, we participate in the integration of the Roma in our Macedonian society, but also with this, we also participate in the integration of the Roma in the overall social development in the overall world. As mayors, at our meetings in the planning regions and through the community, through the community of local self-government units ZELS, we have a lot of meetings in which we participate together in order to be able to improve the conditions of the Roma population. But I would like to mention more about my municipality, the municipality of Delchevo. What is most important, we are implementing projects of all types, and most of them are infrastructure projects. However, what is most important is that in the municipality of Delchevo, the Roma people don't live in an isolated settlement or in a ghetto, so to say, but they live in all settlements where the other population lives. So the projects that we implement through the Romacted program and the other programs, these programs give benefits not only to the Roma but also to the other citizens in the municipality of Delchevo. This is very important because their cohabitation is at a very high level, and I would like to emphasize that the place where I live, the settlement where I live, is a place where mostly Roma people live. So I have grown with them, I am aware with their problems, and from my position as a mayor now, we make efforts to resolve the problems together. We have Roma people, members of the council of the municipality of Delchevo, we have Roma people at certain positions in the local self-government, professors in the high schools, we have teachers in kindergartens, so that we can successfully accumulate all problems that the Roma people have and to find adequate solutions. Also, in addition to all of this that I mentioned as implementation of projects to improve the conditions of living, I am aware that we have a lot of problems to resolve still, not only regarding the Roma population, because I said Roma people are present in all settlements in the municipality of Delchevo, so together we have to join our forces as a local self-government and involve all stakeholders in the institutions in order to be able to use the IPA funds as best as possible, and the other opportunities as well, and to apply for projects so that the municipality of Delchevo can become a European municipality, an example of cohabitation of all nationalities, all citizens living in Delchevo. And our goal, and my goal as a mayor, is for people to stay here and not to move to other countries. And all of this can happen if we put our best efforts and to give support at the local level. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Now we have the Mayor of Berovo. Good afternoon. I would like to use the opportunity to thank the organizers for inviting me to this event, to be present here with some colleagues, mayors, and also I would like to use the opportunity to congratulate the International Roma Day and to wish you a success in your future cooperation. When it comes to the commitments of our municipality through the Roma Acted program. We have had great cooperation so far, many opportunities to implement certain projects which of course improve the quality of life of the citizens in Berovo and especially the life of the Roma people. Also through the programs adopted by the municipality through the municipal council involve certain transfers that enable improvement of our joint cooperation. We as a municipality yesterday had a local event on the occasion of tomorrow's holiday. Honestly, I believe that from what we have done thus far, I would like to thank certain donors, people present here who gave great contribution so that in Berovo we can have cohabitation and improve certain conditions for living and also opportunities for improving the quality of life of the citizens in Berovo. When it comes to what was mentioned by my colleague from Delchevo, the opportunities for employment of Roma people, especially in the local self-government units, within our opportunities, we do our best. Maybe it's not what you are expecting, however, we try to give our contribution, and we have hired people, I think almost in all institutions at the local level. We are talking about people with adequate education, secondary vocational education, higher education. They work in the kindergarten, our cultural institution, certain programs through our colleague Georgi here. We have also been involved in them. Therefore, through the national program for the Decade of the Roma, we participate in this every year. We implement certain projects, and I believe that they are all at the satisfaction of everyone, and especially of our citizens from the Roma nationality. Once again, I would like to congratulate you on your holiday. I wish you health, and I hope we'll see each other in future occasions. Thank you. Thank you. Please. Good afternoon. I am Mili Petkov, Mayor of the Municipality of Vinica. First of all, I would like to congratulate Roma people. Tomorrow's holiday, the 8th of April, the International Roma Day. The Municipality of Vinica has a large number of Roma population, and we are in constant communication with the representatives of the Roma community in Vinica when it comes to planning the projects that need to be implemented. They are involved in the area of the program for construction land and the priorities that should be realized in the current year and also in the process of planning the budget. We have planned a lot of projects, especially in the part of the urbanization of the Roma settlement, which is located in block number 18, which is the basis for the implementation of other infrastructure projects in the municipality. We have also planned the reconstruction of streets, which are the most frequent streets in the Roma settlement, and we also have foreseen the building of a water and sewage network in places where it doesn't exist. We also monitor all the calls for applying for projects that refer to the Roma community through the Roma Decade. And we have also applied to the Ministry for Transport and Communications for the reconstruction of the water network, which is necessary in the Roma settlement. Also, when it comes to the labor and social policy, we have provided free housing free of charge, we have provided Roma children to be enrolled in the kindergartens. We have a lot of infrastructure projects, a lot of educational projects, and a lot of projects associated with sports fields, traffic signalization, and so on. So we are actively monitoring all calls, and together with the representatives of the Roma community, we are trying to improve the living conditions of the Roma population in the municipality. Thank you. Thank you for your speeches. The possibility to fund the national and local action plans greatly depends not only on the government of the Republic of North Macedonia, but also on donors. Now I would like to invite the representative of USAID, Mr. Edin Shabani, to take the floor, please. Thank you. I am sorry I am late. I would like to thank you for the invitation. Also, not knowing the agenda, I raised my hand to speak. Maybe I interrupted the mayors. However, I really wanted to thank some municipalities that are really great partner, our partner in Roma Litiko, which is doing very good things for the Roma population. And also I would like to encourage the other mayors to cooperate with them. Definitely we have mechanisms, we have means, we have resources. When I talk about resources, I mean funds that can be used for different investments or for satisfying the needs of the Roma population in these municipalities. I was inspired by the mayor of Vinica because I have really heard a lot of good things from our partner Roma Litiko about the work in that municipalities, and I would not to mention only them, but also I know that a lot of other municipalities are doing great things as well. Also, I would like to congratulate you on the International Day. I know it is tomorrow, however, since we are all here together, I would like to congratulate you on the International Roma Day. Thank you one more time. We are at your disposal through our two projects. For more information, for those who are not aware of these projects, you can contact Roma Litiko, but also you can contact us, you can contact me. After the event, I am also here if you have any questions, and I hope that we're going to continue to work in this direction and to do even greater things. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shabani. With the three mayors, with the three municipalities, the Ministry of Labor and Social Policy really implements several projects within the strategy for the Roma, and the cooperation with the three mayors is at a satisfactory level. I would like to invite Ms. Sanela Škrijelj, Member of Parliament in the Republic of North Macedonia, to address you. I'm very sorry that the MP Ljatife Šikovska left the meeting. However, we have Sanela here. Please, Sanela. Thank you, Mabera. Yes, my colleague had to leave. However, here on behalf of the inter-party group for improving the rights of the Roma, whose member I am as well, thank you for your invitation. Congratulations on the International Roma Day. I would like to emphasize that in the Assembly we have a group that is working on the reviewing of all challenges faced by the Roma community in our country, and it works on the improvement of the rights of the Roma, which is composed of representatives of all parties, and it is a forum where we put aside our party differences and we try to bring solutions, to organize activities that will mean the improvement of the Roma community. What I would like to emphasize, before having the opportunity to be on this part, on the part of the institutions, I was part of the civil sector for many years, so I have to mention that I am very glad that besides all challenges, we have made significant steps forwards if we go back to 15 or 20 years. And I would like to state that this is mostly due to the constant work of the activists and the Roma organizations. So I would like to encourage you to continue to act in this direction, because all good policies that have been adopted are in fact initiatives of the civil organizations. However, I would like to tell you that you have partners in the assembly. We have made significant steps in education. However, we have significant problems when it comes to people not attending school. We have segregation present in several schools. So the country, in accordance with its authorizations, needs to do something here. We have also made steps forwards when it comes to employment, economic empowerment, the quotas that were mentioned, and they need to be increased and extended. I also need to say that I am very glad that we are intensively improving the rights and the status of Roma women, again with support of the activists who have been working on this issue for many years. We in the Assembly, as MPs, have several roles. One of the roles that we have is to speak loudly about the needs of the communities that we represent in order to raise the awareness in the public and the executive power about the challenges to adopt policies and solutions that improve the life of our citizens, but also to monitor the implementation of the laws that have already been adopted. In general, we all have this attitude that when it comes to the texts of the laws, we have good laws. However, the challenge also comes when you have to implement the laws. However, I'm very glad that after long years in the Assembly, we had such a discussion, which has not been practiced thus far, and this discussion was on the topic of resolving the status of people without documents. Yes, a legal solution was adopted. However, through this discussion, it was concluded that there is a need for improvement, that there are certain shortcomings that need to be removed, and I am very glad that after many years we had such a discussion in the Assembly. We will continue to act as inter-party parliamentary group. To repeat once again, you have partners, you have support in the Assembly, so you can contact us about anything that you think that we as MPs can and need to do. Once again, I would like to congratulate you on the International Roma Day, and let us continue all together to work to improve the quality of life of all our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanela. We have with us representatives of two bodies that ensure protection against discrimination against anyone, but including members of the Roma community. We have representatives of the ombudsperson, Ms. Vaska. Could you please address the audience? Thank you, Mabera. And this Roman pride cannot be taken away. Working in an institution that protects the constitutional and human rights of all citizens, including Roma people as a community, as people recognized in the Constitution. I expect in the last 17 years working in the institution to see changes, and I'm happy that today, the day before the official holiday, we had the opportunity to hear many things that have improved when it comes to Roma people in the last few years. But the ombudsperson is always on the side of the citizens, and I wouldn't be doing my job if we didn't. All these nice things, we have to point out the weaknesses. It is a fact that despite all the efforts for equality of all citizens, the feeling of discrimination and bias is on a high level in the Roma community, and it's alarming. Then they feel like for 32 years we have been standing in place. The constitutional obligation for equal rights, which is an obligation of the ombudsperson, I have to conclude that there is no equity in the institutions, that the annual plans adopted by the institutions, which we monitor through statistics on an annual basis, show an improvement compared to previous years, but detailed analysis show there are a lot more Roms in non-managerial positions than managerial positions, and we have bodies and institutions without a single member of the Roma community. And then we say we have a lot of people who graduated, who are now Masters of Science, PhDs, but still cannot find their place within the institutions. I hope that all this support we heard today, that the political will expressed by the high representatives of the government will continue as it has in the past few years, but we appeal for this to be a lot more visible, because the areas that we focused on with the first Roma strategy in 2005 are still in the new strategy adopted in 2022, which indicates that there is still a lot to do, and the practical examples that are not individual, they go deeper into the Roma community. And so problems with people that are not registered in the birth register, Roma in the street, segregated, hate speech, discrimination, not accepting the differences, it all undermines human freedoms and rights and democratic values in general. And the path that Macedon is taking as an institution, we are very happy that the screening process began. We are included in it. We contribute for our country in order to overcome any obstacles in joining the European Union and all the challenges, especially Chapter 23. We're going to have to be held accountable when it comes to the rights of ethnic minorities and how we resolve issues of discrimination.
I
hope next year we'll speak about a lot more success and about a lot more Romani in high places, and maybe nice to hear a lot more Roma language in the public institutions. Thank you. Ms. Mustafova Bayramovska. Last year, for the first time, there was a public event involving all candidates who wanted to become members of the Committee for Protection Against Discrimination, and for the first time we had elected representative of the Roma community as a member of this committee, and he's also the president of the committee. Mr. Kamberi, could you please address the audience? Thank you. As you heard, I am Ismail Kamberi. I'm a member and president of the Committee for Prevention and Protection Against Discrimination. As the president, I have the honor to chair the committee from November 1st, 2001. I say it's an honor because the committee was established in January 21, and within this short period of time, we succeeded, not according to me, but according to objective criteria, we managed to achieve a lot in the social development and in the fight against inequality. We conducted surveys supported by the British Embassy that indicated that 36% of the population recognized the committee as a relevant body that does fight discrimination. And in addition, in the progress reports of the European Commission, our committee is one of few institutions commended for its operations, and in the last report of the State Department on Human Rights, the USA also recognized our work, and I'm especially happy for this, since we are sending a message that when electing people in high places by merit, we can make real changes in our society. Now about the Day of Roma People, April 8th, the committee in 22 found, identified 9 cases of discrimination targeting Roma population. Out of the 9, I will tell you about 2 cases which are very relevant and systematically connected towards discrimination for the Roma community. The first is segregation of Roma children in elementary schools. We found segregation in the municipality of Štip in an elementary school in the municipality of Bitola, and the problem was the law on elementary education or primary education. When it comes to localization, we filed a lawsuit before Strasbourg, before the Court of Human Rights. In the verdict, the court quoted the opinion we submitted to the committee and quotes the recommendations that the states should fulfill. And for the first time, the court obliged the state, together with our committee, to find a solution, a proper solution. The committee as the relevant body. And another problem I want to point out is access to water in the municipalities on local level, in settlements which are illegal and they don't have urban development of Roma community. We can talk about integration, inclusion, employment, and so on, but there's no use if a huge part of the population have no access to water. How can they go to work? How can get the education if they don't have access to basic hygiene? They have to walk through mud to get to school or to work, and then get involved in the social discourse. And so, therefore, access to water we see as the basis for a lot of discrimination that can be faced by anyone who lives in such illegal settlements with no urban development. Now, in the cases where we identify discrimination, the municipalities give the excuse that those settlements are illegal, so they're not involved in the detailed or general urban plan for them to be provided with water supply. But European practice in the European Court of Human Rights states that such settlements do not have to be legalized, but alternative solutions can be found to provide them access to water. One of those solutions is placement of water tanks. This was done after finding discrimination in the municipality of Kovadaci. So if you want to achieve something, you can do it. I want to commend this example. I hope we'll have a lot more such examples when it comes to discrimination against Roma people. And I'm very happy that, although in the beginning this body that promotes equality was new and we couldn't communicate well with the institutions, lately the institutions and the ministries largely fulfilled the recommendations. There are even occasions before adopting a policy or a call, they consult us before implementing an activity, and I'm very happy for this. I will stop here. If you have any cases, please.
Thank you, Mr. Kamberi. We have 2 more speakers left. It is known that the Roma people don't have their country of origin. However, historically speaking, they come from India. Now I would like to invite the ambassador of the Republic of India, Mr. Sanjay Rana, to address us. And also I'd like to congratulate him on staying until the end of today's event, of today's celebration.
Thank you, Madam Mabara, and you are very right. In India, we feel that, we believe that the Roma people are our brothers. They have their origins to large extent to our part of the world, and of course, there are many strands in this historical flow, and one cannot say everything because there is a wide diversity within the Roma group as well. But we consider them not only from the point of origin, but also from the point of their situation and the situation they feel in their present home. Because as a developing society, we share many of these challenges which Republic of North Macedonia is trying to also see how to improve the conditions of Roma minority here. These are the challenges which we also face as a developing community, and we can identify these, and it's very useful to have this kind of a review of implementation policies and also to involve foreign partners, because together we can brainstorm and share suggestions on how to improve it. But I'm very happy that you have included us in this. I was very happy to see and hear the views of different stakeholders, from the people who are leading the organizations working in this field, to mayors who implement it on a daily basis, to the members of parliament and ombudsman representatives and others. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and I also take this opportunity to congratulate all the people, Roma people as well as others, on the International Day of Roma, which we are celebrating tomorrow. Thank you.
In next period, we will have much more possibilities to communicate and to have sharing of experience from India and from Macedonia.
The last speaker is Mr. Erol from the municipality of Štip. Please, Erol, you can take the floor. Thank you. Mabera. Good afternoon to everyone. Especially, I would like to congratulate everyone on the International Roma Day, the 8th of April. What I want to emphasize, and I think is important to share with all stakeholders present here in the hall, and maybe in the last 30 years have been working on improving the living conditions of the Roma community and the development of the community itself, so that it can have progress. When it comes to the opportunities for obtaining financial support, I think that we are at the right place, where we create public policies, draft public policies. I would like to mention the strategy on the Roma itself, and I personally believe that the government, when it comes to the financing of the strategy, will have to allocate greater funds to the areas, so that the overall Roma community can feel the benefits when it comes to the improvement of the life of the Roma community. What is happening at the local level in the municipality of Štip, I can say that is using all opportunities that are offered by the donors in order to meet the needs of the Roma community in our municipality. We have a holistic approach. Here we have most of the donors who have given their unselfish support, and I would like to encourage all other donors that throughout the years have funded programs and projects that are directly aimed at resolving the issues of the Roma community. From experience, I would like to share that it is very important to have representatives in the local self-governments, representatives of the Roma community, so that we can address the needs of the community itself. Of course, by channeling all problems into the programs that are adopted, such as the local action plans. However, we, within the framework of the Roma Acted 1 and Roma Acted 2 programs, what I did as a member of the local self-government, in accordance with the action plan, together with all the colleagues in the sectors and departments within the local self-government and the managers, we managed to involve them in the resolving of the issues of the local self-government. What I also believe is important to be shared is the project that we are currently implementing, and is of extreme importance because it responds to many needs of the community, and this is above all the adoption of the general urban plan, and with this the adoption of the detailed urban plans in the Roma community. And I can say that in our municipality we have covered more than 90% of the Roma settlements, and I believe and I hope that in the course of this year we're going to have a detailed urban plan for all Roma settlements in our municipalities. Also here we worked on the housing issue as a very important tool. All present here know that in our municipality we have people who live in substandard conditions, and thanks to the EU, which provided us with support to resolve the housing issue, we provided housing to 47 Roma families, and in this year we are going to build these houses in order to resolve the problems of these people. We are talking about 25 to 250 citizens of the Roma community, so that they can have a home, so that they can live in normal conditions like all other citizens. What is also important in the part of legalization, we had several opportunities through the project itself to legalize the houses of the Roma people, so that they can obtain a property deed. And what I think is very important and can be seen in all municipalities is the infrastructure in the settlements themselves. I believe that the Ministry of Transport and Communication, but also all other institutions, will be able to allocate more funds in order to provide these documents that we have at the local level. And also the employment of the Roma is very important in order to respond to the challenges that we have with the implementation of such projects, but also the need for human resources in order to realize such projects. Thank you. The last speaker will be Mr. Suat-Skenderi. I promise that I will be brief. My name is Suat-Skenderi from Romalitico. I am chief of party in one of the projects of USAID implemented by Romalitico. I would like from this position, first of all, to send a message to all mayors present here, especially to the already known mayors to us, because we have already implemented more than 10 local actions. I would like to commend the mayors of Vinica, Berovo, Tetovo, Štip, many other municipalities with which we already have cooperation. I would like to commend my colleague, which is the contact point for the Romacted program, Mersiha Hussein. And we showed that we can do a lot more. We showed that in Tetovo, through a local action, we can implement a program worth more than 3 million euros. In Veles, we showed that through local action, with not a large amount of funds, we can make a great change. We also did the same in the municipality of Štip, and we plan to continue with this synergy, because it was shown that when we get our hands dirty, we can really make a great change. And it is a great honor and pleasure to say this at this meeting, at this event, because I think that the changes that we made in brief time, in a year and a half, had great results. We as a project have generated more than 1.5 million donors, which are not donor funds, but are funds collected by companies, by the alumni community, and the Ministry of Education and Science, also by the Roma diaspora. I am here not to take a lot of your time. I'm here also to announce our new initiative, Green Roma Settlements. Merciha already knows about this initiative, and I would like to inform you about the idea, about the initiative that we initiated. We are starting to implement actions. We already implemented one in Bitola, in Bair. We are also implementing initiatives that are associated with the green agenda, that is the agenda of the Roma, and a healthier and protected life of the Roma. I would like one more time to congratulate you on the International Roma Day. Thank you. Thank you. Before we close today's event, based on all this that was said today by the Prime Minister, by the Deputy Prime Minister, by the ministers, the representative of the Assembly, the bodies present here that provide protection against discrimination, I want to read 4 conclusions. The first conclusion is greater budget projection for 2024 for at least 30% within the ministries in order to implement activities from the strategy of the Roma 2022-2030 and programs that are aimed to improve the situation of the Roma. Second conclusion, the ministries to oblige themselves to implement the strategy of the Roma 2022-2030, to give a greater focus on the Roma community in the process of programming IPA 3 and the EU funds in cooperation with the Secretariat for European Affairs. Third conclusion, to recommend the municipalities to implement the local action plans until 2026 in cooperation with the donor community and the civil sector of the Republic of North Macedonia. And the fourth conclusion, to establish a system for more active and recognizable structure on the field when it comes to health and educational mediators, pedagogical assistants, Roma information centers coordinated by the National Contact Point for the Roma and the Ministry of Labor and Social Policy. At the end, I would like to thank the interpreters, because without them we couldn't have organized this event, we couldn't have understood each other. I would like to thank the Macedonian television, the program for Roma language Biandipe, because this overall event is being live streamed. And most of all, I would like to thank 2 ladies on my left and right side. They are Merciha and Julten, because really in the past few months they worked together with the advisor for Roma affairs to be able to be here and organize this event. I would like to thank all of you for your presence here today, for the honor that you gave us as a Roma community to celebrate the International Roma Day, the 8th of April, and to all representatives of the Roma community in the Republic of North Macedonia. On behalf of all of us, I would like to congratulate the International Roma Day, the 8th of April. Thank you. I would like to invite all of you in the restaurant of the government for a small cocktail. Thank you.